Hi, this is Stuart Nachbar with Educated Quest. With me tonight is Luke McNulty. He is a sophomore at the University of Utah, home of the Runnin' Utes. I think that's what they still call them. And he is a sophomore majoring in environmental science. He is a member of Phi Beta Phi Kappa Phi.
No,
For,
Phi Delta Theta.
Phi, okay, thank you.
All good.
So he's in a fraternity there. So we're going to talk about life at the University of Utah from the perspective of a Southern Californian living in Salt Lake City. Luke, thank you for spending this evening with me.
Of course.
So tell me, what was your life like in high school? What made you interested in the major you chose? Were there extracurriculars that you did that carried you through high school? What did you do in high school before college?
Yeah. So for my sports management major, I just always loved sports my whole life, and I kind of knew that I might want to work in it one day. So that was kind of an easy decision. And then yeah, growing up in Southern California, I was at the beach a lot. So I kind of learned more about that, how the beaches are being affected. And then I took some marine biology classes, some marine ecology classes, and I just really enjoyed them. I did well. I took a AP Environmental Science in senior year and just really did well there too and enjoyed the class. And just thought, why not pursue it? Because I didn't really want to major in business. And so far, I'm enjoying it still, almost 2 years in.
You said about going to the beach in Southern California. Was there a big transition going from beaches to mountains?
Maybe a little bit. I grew up skiing my whole life. So I was definitely, it wasn't something that was like super new to me. But I absolutely love it. I ski as much as I possibly can. And I mean, I'm really happy and super thankful that I get to ski as much as I want. And I'm in such like just a beautiful place because it's so insane living here.
And what do you like to do when it gets warmer?
When it gets warmer, I mean, we can still go to the mountains. You can hike, just walk around. But when it's warm, it's really just like it's fun to just kind of hang out with your friends and be outside because for so much of the school year, it's kind of cold. So you're not doing a bunch of stuff outside. So when it's warm, you kind of just everyone takes it in and just really enjoys life. But yeah, I mean, today it's starting to warm up. It's 60 degrees out. Everywhere I went around campus, there was always a bunch of people outside just because it's really nice.
Now, I live in New Jersey where it could still snow in April. How
Hmm.
late will it snow in Utah, from what people have
Um,
told
you know,
me?
I'm not too sure because our season last year was literally a record breaking season. We got the most snow in the valley and in the mountains that we've ever gotten. So it was snowing in April and May, I'm pretty sure. But for right now, it seems like it's starting to slow down around now. I could be wrong, but for now, we had a huge storm last week, and I don't know if there's anything projected for the next couple of weeks. I don't think there is, so it might be slowing down around now. But it's kind of different every year the way the winters work. So we could have one year where it snows a lot at the end of the season and but not really at the start. Snows a lot at the start of the season and not at the end, or just kind of spread out and just kind of snowing consistently. So it's really just a year to year basis.
And if it was a major storm, would they ever cancel classes?
This year we have not canceled. We have not had a single canceled class because it doesn't snow in like Salt Lake City Valley very too much. It snowed I think like 3 times so far this year, and in the valley. But last year we had like 3 or 4 days canceled because it was literally snowing like 2 to 3 times a week. It was kind of insane.
And how good are they at clearing the snow so you can get
They're
around?
great. I mean, they just throw a ton of salt on the roads, and it's good by the next morning.
And what led you to choose, being from California, what led you to choose the University of Utah over the other schools that you applied to?
It was a really great price. So they do the Western undergraduate exchange. So I'm pretty sure 150% of in-state tuition. So that was a huge pull. I love skiing. I've done it my whole life. And so when I visited here, I got to ski and I really enjoyed it. And, I kind of just thought like I can go anywhere and have fun and like go out and do whatever I want, but I can't go anywhere and ski some of the best snow in the world. So that was really a big factor for me too. It was kind of like, okay, I can get a pretty good degree at any of the schools that I applied to and that I'm thinking about, but like, what am I going to be able to do outside of school that I am going to really enjoy? And, I was looking at Syracuse, which is a great school, but there wasn't a whole lot to do outside of going to class and just hanging out with your friends. So I really just tried to focus on how much I would enjoy my everyday life at the college I went to. And it just seemed like Utah was the place where I was going to enjoy it the most.
Had you been to
And
Utah for skiing before?
I went once before I came here to visit the school and skied for a couple of days and just it was just the best skiing I'd ever experienced. And so my mind was pretty made up after my visit, I'd say.
And did you come in knowing your major?
No, I came in as a business major, and the first day I transferred out of business. But that's not to say that the business school here is bad. We have like a phenomenal business school. It's like probably the best program that the U offers, but it just wasn't really for me. I don't think. And so, what I'm doing now, I really enjoy, and I'm really happy with my choice. But majority of my friends are business majors, and they all love it.
Walk me through what you do in your major and your minor, the courses you take, and maybe what
Yeah.
you might do for an internship later, or you might want to do for a job after you graduate.
Um, So right now I'm taking two online classes. One is like severe and unusual weather, and the other is sports sociology. And then my in-person classes are mainly environmental science classes. I try to break up since I'm double majoring. I do one semester kind of focused on one of my majors, and then the other one focused on my other major. And I might like add one class in that's for my sports management major if it's my environmental science semester, which is what I'm doing right now. So for environmental science, I'm taking human ecology. I'm taking global climate change. I'm taking environmental ethics. I'm taking environmental economics, and then those two online classes.
And what do you think you'd like to do after you graduate?
I would love to work in sport sustainability, and if not that, I would kind of have to make a decision on if I want to go like through a just sustainability route or just a sports route. But if I could combine both, that'd be really awesome.
How would someone do that? Would they be involved with a particular sport or involved with a venue or something
Um,
else?
I'm not super sure because it's kind of like a new idea that I've had and something that's not like really uh, set in stone as a
Mhm.
huge profession. But my goal or like my dream, I guess you could say, would be to kind of have a consulting firm and kind of go to whoever hires us and help them, whether it be a stadium, a team, a league, or anything in between. So that's kind of what I would want to do.
And what's your favorite sports?
Probably soccer. I grew up playing it my whole life. Uh, but that's my favorite sport to play and kind of like talk about. But my favorite sport to watch is either football or baseball, probably.
And Utah has a really good football program.
Yeah, we did. We're projected to be really, really good this year, this upcoming year, so my junior year. This year we weren't great. We were missing our actual quarterback and kind of just like had a mediocre year, but we were a really good freshman year. We won the Pac-12. But yeah, so next year I'm really excited. We're projected to win the Big 12. So if we could do that, go to the playoffs, that would be awesome.
And do fans fill the stadium for home games?
Oh, absolutely. I think I might be a little biased, but I have seen things before that Rice Eccles Stadium, which is where we play football, is one of the most difficult atmospheres to play in. Because I mean, one, the altitude is really like no joke. You definitely feel it if you're running around for 60 minutes. But it also is just such like an intense like in such an intense stadium, and it's a little bit of a smaller stadium that you can really pack people in there, and it gets really loud, and it's really fun.
And moving to the Big 12, you're coming in with a group with
Yeah.
Arizona State, Colorado.
hmm
BYU was already in the conference. It's a different set of rivalries now. or BYU will be the main one and Colorado
Yeah, I
perhaps?
mean, I'm really excited for that. I haven't been able to see a BYU football game since I've come to school here because I went to the Big 12 before I started going to school here. So I think that's probably the biggest one. I mean, it's just a Utah school. It's kind of like the Utes versus the Mormons in a sense, I guess you could say. I've heard people refer to it as like the Holy War is the name of the game.
Really?
Kind of like the whatever other games might be called, or like the whatever Auburn and Alabama is called. I forget what it's called. But stuff like that is really cool. But I think we'll have a good potential rivalry with U of A, which will be really cool. But I'm definitely gonna miss playing Oregon because those were and USC because those were some really fun games.
And are the fans harder on like USC or Oregon than they are
Oh yeah.
on Arizona?
Oh, totally. When we played USC my freshman year, and we beat them and stormed the field, and it's just an insane experience, an unreal experience.
Are you part of the muss?
Uh, Freshman year I was. This year I dropped the ball a little bit and forgot to buy my must pass, but I got free student tickets, so I was totally fine to get into the games. But this year I definitely learned my lesson, and I will be buying my must pass the day it comes out for the football games.
What do you get with the must pass?
I think it's like $60 or $80. You get free entry to all the football games and
Oh,
almost any other sport game.
wow, really? So you
Yeah.
can go to basketball if you wanted or soccer if you
Yep.
wanted to.
hmm
And is there a must pit for the other sports?
I am embarrassed to say I don't know because
Okay.
I have never been to a basketball game. I should. I'm gonna try and go soon, but since I don't have a must pass this year, it's hard to go and find tickets. Especially because we're kind of getting better at basketball. We're actually starting to become more competitive, so the games are becoming something that people want to go to more. But I think there is for definitely for basketball. I know that for sure.
Now you pledged a fraternity. Are fraternities a big thing there?
They're not huge, but I mean, I'm actually at my fraternity's house right now. I just finished up with a meeting before this, so they're not huge, I would say. So if you come here and you're not interested in Greek life at all, there's absolutely plenty of other things to do. Because I think at other schools, if you're not in Greek life, it might be boring. But here, what's so great about it is that you can ski. You're at one of the most scenic places in the country, with like some of the best national parks within a 3 to 4 hour drive, way less than that too. But I would say it's growing at a pretty fast pace. They're trying to, after this year, our IFC, which is the Interfraternity Council, I think is what it's called, which is kind of like the group that's in charge of Greek life, is trying to add a new fraternity every single year
Oh,
because
really?
it's growing really fast.
So there's people who want to start the chapters.
Exactly. And it's getting to the point now where so many people are rushing that we don't have enough chapters to accommodate the people that are rushing, if that makes sense.
Is that partly due to the housing? Because the one thing I did learn was there's wait lists for people who wanted on-campus housing.
Yeah, see, that's another pretty big problem I'd say is housing. So it can be a bit of a struggle from time to time to find housing, but I would just say if you're like on top of it, it should be pretty manageable.
And you rushed in your second semester.
No, I rushed my first semester of freshman year, so
Oh,
I've
you
been
can do
here.
that. You can do that. Most schools don't
Yeah,
let you do
yeah, yeah.
that.
Some schools don't let you, but this school does. So it's great. I mean, I kind of got here. I got in right when I got to school, basically. So I've really been able to build like a really awesome community of friends that are just really supportive, and I love it.
How does it work? Does it work the way I was in college, God, almost half a century ago. I'm getting old. And the way it worked when I was in school is there was like a week and you walked to different houses and you saw if
Yeah.
you got along with the people. Is it still the same thing?
Yeah, it's not a week. It's like more 2 to 3 weeks. It's a bit more spread out now. So,
Okay.
different chapters can have events on different days. So you can try to go to as many as you can. But for the fall, there's like 4 or 5 events for Rush. And then spring is like maybe 4 instead of 5.
Okay.
And it's just like different events. Like one might be pizza at the house. Another could be like dodgeball, just something easy that's fun that people you can meet new people at and kind of just like get to know people that are rushing.
Did you move into the house your sophomore year?
No, I don't live here. I just had a meeting at this house. I live with my friends in another house, but I'm gonna live here next year
Okay.
because the rent is really, really cheap. So I'm going abroad in the spring. So having cheap rent when I'm not here is very, very convenient.
Now, other colleges have a fraternity row. Is that the case at Utah?
Yeah, we have one. It's
And
right. If you're looking at campus from the bottom of campus, it's on the very left of campus. So campus ends, and then literally across the street is Greek Row. So you're right on campus.
the sororities have houses too?
Yeah, it's all mixed. It's not just like fraternities in one space and then sororities in the other. It could be like sorority, fraternity, and so on.
And how many brothers are in your house?
Right now we're at 110,
That's pretty
and we're going to
big.
be at 125 at the end of the year.
And I guess
We're
they
going to
all
be
don't
pushing
they
like
don't all live in the house.
No, we only have like 12 rooms in the house. Our house is like a little bit old. So
Okay.
it's not, it was built when our chapter was a bit smaller, like
Okay.
20 years ago. But we're working on building a new house right now that can accommodate a lot more people. But even though not a bunch of people live here, it's still a pretty common place for people to come and just kind of hang out and just do whatever with their friends.
And building a new house as in from the ground up or buying another house.
Building. So we're going to keep the land we have,
Wow.
try to buy the house next to us.
Wow.
And build an entirely new house, which would be super cool.
And how has Greek life made your experience better?
Oh man, it's like just fully just like skyrocketed my experience. It's been so much fun. I mean, all my best friends here were like in my pledge class when I was a freshman, so I've known them since the first couple weeks of school. And it's just a really great group of guys, which is kind of what's so great for me about Greek life is I would say there's enough options here that you can find your people. And if not, I think that's also totally okay. Like Greek life just might not be for you. Um, I have a bunch of friends that aren't in Greek life that are still extremely happy and doing their thing and having a great time. And Greek life just wasn't for them. But for me, I kind of just was trying to go to as many events as possible. My mom actually made me rush. I wasn't even planning on it.
Oh.
Um, and yeah, I just met really great people and was just open to anything, and it was really fun. Open to any house. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Where did you live your first semester?
My first 2 semesters I lived on campus in the freshman housing in dorms.
And how is the housing?
Good. I mean, they're building more dorms this year because housing can be a struggle to find from time to time. But I really enjoyed it. I had an awesome roommate who's one of like my best friends now, and it was a random roommate, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. You know, you get to be close to all your friends. You don't have a car. You eat on campus. It's like you can kind of turn your brain off and not worry about things that you would usually worry about when you're living away from home. So it's a really good transition, I'd say, because you're living by yourself and you're relying on yourself a lot more, but there's still some things that you don't have to worry about. So it's a good buffer to like me now living, fully where I live with 2 of my friends and I cook my meals and do all that. But it was a much easier transition than to go from living at home to living by myself, basically.
And you can do without a car there?
Um, it depends. Like I have a car this year because I live 10 minutes away from campus.
Okay.
But if you live close to campus, you don't need a car. But if you live a bit farther, you can take public transit, but it really just depends on where you live because it can be really easy to get to class if you live a little farther away for public transit, or it can be really difficult. For me, it would have taken me like an hour or two to get to class every day, and that just was not a viable option. So I have a car also for skiing too. Getting up to the mountains would be a little bit more difficult if I didn't have a car. So,
With
but
the
you can
with the
definitely
met with the mass transit, is there just a lot of stops? Is that why it's an hour?
stops, but it's really more just like, Salt Lake City is a grid, like the entire street system is just a grid, which is great. But then there can also be times where there's just parts of the city that just don't really have a metro or a bus, but usually you can get around, but it just takes a while. You don't have to like keep transferring from a train to a bus or a bus to a train or a train to a train.
And do you go into the city too?
Yeah, so I kind of live in between like the campus and the city, so I live like right in the middle. So campus is just as far away as it is the city. So, but I mean, I would say campus is in the city. Like there's no kind of like cutoff where you're driving for a couple miles and there's nothing. It's definitely like, Salt Lake City is a small city, but it's definitely a city. Which is kind of what's so great about it is that you get the benefits of living in a city of like internships and all that, but you also get like the feeling of living in a smaller area. And it's not like, for me being from LA or you being from New Jersey where there's a lot going on, it's kind of a little bit slower. So I really enjoy it personally.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that because you came from the LA area, and I just wondered,
Mhm.
to compare it a little more. Would you, if you were after graduation, you could live in either place, which one would you choose?
I mean, I think for the first couple of years, I would definitely live in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
I love it here. I get to ski whenever I want. And I mean, if I had to guess, I'm probably going to have more opportunities available to me in Salt Lake compared to anywhere else, just because I went to college here. I got to know people here and made connections. But probably Salt Lake for the first couple of years, and then I don't really know yet. I don't know if I want to live back in LA. I might want a new experience, but I don't know what that new experience would be.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Um, you seem relatively happy, at
Yeah.
Utah. What are the things you like the least?
What do I like the least? The roads aren't great since Salt Lake City is you definitely experience all the seasons here. When it snows or it rains, the water from the rain or just the snow melting can go into the roads, freeze, unfreeze, freeze, and it just kind of makes for a pretty bumpy road whenever you're driving. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I don't like. There's definitely a stereotype for people who don't live in Salt Lake that it's kind of just like where a bunch of Mormons live, which really I couldn't disagree with more. Um, I don't like regularly see a Mormon person, and if I do, it's not like I'm seeing, the Grim Reaper or anything. They're pretty normal usually, and they don't. It's not like some crazy thing, and you're gonna lose 30 minutes of your day talking to someone that's Mormon. It's completely different. But what else? I mean, there's some air quality issues here which aren't great. But I mean, I can't complain about too much. I'm going to college for pretty cheap. I can ski whenever I want. I'm taking awesome classes, and anywhere you look is a scenic view. So it's hard to find things that you don't like because anything that I want to do here, I can do.
Who, who would be happiest? And this is my last question. Who would be happiest at the U?
Um, I was thinking about this, and I think it's really hard to pinpoint a specific person because, as I kind of just said, you can literally do anything here. This is the best skiing in the country, in my opinion. Other people might think otherwise, but that's their opinion, and that's my opinion. So, if you are just like a ski bum and all you want to do is go to class and ski and you don't really care about like going out and going to parties, you can do that totally fine. If want to if you just want to like party and go out and you don't care about the mountains, you can totally do that too. There's tons and tons of bars in downtown Salt Lake everywhere that you can find. And then if you want to do both, which is kind of like what I like to do, you can totally do that and it works great. And it's like, you're not just sitting with your friends doing nothing every day. It's if you have some free time, you can just drive up to the mountains and ski. It's pretty hard to complain, but I would say if someone doesn't like the cold, they might not love it here. And if they don't like a bit of a smaller city, they might not like it here. So that would be like two big things. But and then I guess the third one is that if you're really heavy on like you want a true like party experience. This might not be like the perfect place for you because you can absolutely find the party experience here. But you're not gonna get like an experience like you would in like an SEC school. But you definitely get I mean, I love it. I'm having a great time and I can't complain at all. So I'm
Luke,
enjoying myself from a big city and I like it here. So yeah.
Luke, thank you for spending this time with me. I enjoyed this.
Of course, I enjoyed it too. It was great talking to you.